I've come here just to the memorial garden, remembering Mum and Dad, to talk about plants in particular. With summer just round the corner, I'll be once again ready to do my local plant life survey, since I am a volunteer who catalogues all the local plants around the Bradley area. Here are the list of 10 of the most dangerous plants from the UK to be aware of in your travels. First we'll look at apples. An apple a day might keep the doctor away, but the same cannot be said for apple seeds. The seeds contain cyanogenic glycosides, making them mildly poisonous. If you consume enough of the seeds, you could ingest a fatal dose. But that's a lot of apples. Healthline did the maths. You would need to finely chew and eat about 200 apple seeds, or about 20 apple cores, to receive a fatal dose. If you cut up apples for your children, or prefer to eat all apples down to the core, you may want to remove the seeds just to be safe. Next is deadly nightshade. The name says it all. Both the foliage and the berries of this plant are extremely toxic. Deadly nightshade has a long, colourful history of use as a poison. But what many people don't realise is that the nightshade family also includes common food plants, including potatoes, tomatoes, eggplants and chili peppers. In fact, all of these plants contain toxins, usually in their foliage, that can be harmful. In particular, humans and pets should avoid potato and tomato foliage and their vines in the garden. Next one, European yew. Relatively common in Europe, Northwest Africa and the Middle East, and nearly all plants of this slow-growing tree can be poisonous. The exception is the red fleshy anrill that surrounds the toxic seeds. The anrill is frequently eaten by birds. Some people have chosen to commit suicide by ingesting the leaves or the seeds, both which contain a poison called taxanes. Sometimes there are no symptoms of poisoning, and a person or animal can die within a few hours of ingesting the yew seeds or leaves. If there are symptoms, they can include a fast heart rate, muscle spasms or laboured breathing. Another strange one here is daffodils. Prized for their beauty, daffodils grow from bulbs that could be mistaken for edible food like onions. Daffodils, also known by their Latin name Narcissus, are common ornamental plants with a bright, cheery and mostly toxin-free flower. Most daffodils are deer and vermin resistant, but gardeners shouldn't overlook the dark side of this plant. The Greek philosopher Socrates sometimes referred to daffodils as the chaplet of internal gods because of the plant's numbing effect. Next one is hemlock. This is one of the most famous poisonous plants in history. It's the flora that's responsible for killing Socrates. All parts of the plant contain relatively simple alkaloid called conine, which causes stomach pains, vomiting and progressive paralysis of the central nervous system. Hemlock is also known by several common names, including devil's porridge, beaver's poison and poison parsley. Another one, very dangerous plant, it's non-native to Britain but grows all over the place, is giant hogweed. At up to 20 feet tall with dinner table sized leaves, giant hogweed is an impressive plant that was once planted in gardens. However, it is highly invasive and has spread throughout the whole of Great Britain, primarily favouring riverbanks, but also other areas such as parks, cemeteries and wasteland. The sap of the giant hogweed contains the toxic chemicals known as fluorocarmines. When these come in contact with the skin and in the presence of sunlight, they cause a condition called phytophotodermatitis, a reddening of the skin often followed by severe burns and blistering. The burns can last for several months, and once they have died down, the skin can remain sensitive to light for many years. Every year there are press articles about gardeners, contractors, ramblers, children and owners and others that have been hurt by this plant, just like this one. Next plant is probably the most, well, it's arguably the most poisonous plant in the world. It's the castor bean plant. If you ever consumed castor oil before, you might be surprised to learn that castor beans contain one of the most poisonous substances in the world, ricin. Just one castor bean has enough ricin to kill an adult within a few minutes. Despite its grim quality, castor bean plants are frequently grown for decorative purposes, even in parks and public places. Next plant is the devil's trumpet, or angel's trumpet. Angel's trumpets are woody stemmed bushes with pendulous flowers that hang like bells. They are prized as decorative additions to gardens because of their elegant flowers. The catch is that all parts of this plant contain dangerous levels of poison and may be fatal if ingested by humans or animals. Angel's trumpet have occasionally been used to create a recreational drug called scopolamine, but the risk of overdose is so high that these uses have very deadly consequences. Monkshood. Monkshood has a long tradition as a deadly plant and was used by ancient warriors to poison the water of their enemies. It was also once used as a popular werewolf detection tool. The flowers was held near the alleged wolf's chin, and if a yellow tinged shadow appeared, then it was confirmation that the person was a werewolf. Recently, a gardener died of multiple organ failure after just brushing past the deadly purple flowering plant on an estate where he was working in the UK. Finally, foxglove. The seeds, stems, flowers and leaves of the foxglove are highly poisonous. They contain digitalis glycosides, which are organic compounds that act on the heart. When someone eats part of this attractive plant or sucks on the flowers, the glycosides affect cardiac function, causing irregular heartbeat symptoms that can also include digestive issues, headache, blurred vision, confusion, and eventually lead to death. I hope you've enjoyed this journey of tenuous plants that are probably more dangerous than a lot of these commonly, drugs that police run up and down council estates, stopping people growing. But anyway, that's another issue.